So welcome to the webinar again. Today's presentation is titled Automate Your Process Using Free Tools to Track and Alert. What we want to do is show you some of the free tools on Guru Focus that are available both for premium and non-premium members and show you how they can serve as a digital database for all of your due diligence and prevent you from losing work that you have done in your research process. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to start from the main home page of Guru Focus, and the My Portfolios feature is accessible in the top right corner of the screen. You're going to see that right there. If you've never set up a portfolio, you'll have one option. If you have, you'll see two. Now, I've set up a few, as you can see here in this list. The first thing, if you've got several portfolios set up, the Portfolios Overview tab is going to take you to a list of all the stocks you are tracking and break them down for each of your portfolios, you can see here. If you haven't, this will likely take you to a page to set up a new portfolio. So I want to start at the beginning, assuming you've never set up a custom virtual portfolio, and show you how to get started. So there's a couple of ways. If you have stocks in mind, here's what I would suggest. The second drop-down option is to create a new portfolio. And it's going to be very simple and straightforward. All you need is a name, a description, and the ticker symbols of the stocks you want to add. So for instance, let's just set this up as test portfolio, and you have two options with the privacy. You can either make it private or open to everyone, actually a friends only option there as well. All that means that others will be able to access and view your portfolio. If you'd rather keep it private, just click private and you'll see the lock icon versus an unlocked icon. So let's just throw in a few stock symbols to get started. Let's put in some of the big ones: Apple, Google, IBM, Amazon, Tesla, BlackBerry, just to name a few. And then you can put anything you want here in the portfolio description. I'll just put just put test in there, and you can click create portfolio and it'll set everything up. Now you also have the option, as you see here, to import this from a Microsoft Excel file. So for most of you, this probably won't be something you use, but if you have a list maybe you're tracking now in an Excel spreadsheet, or you've got an Excel dump of maybe your current holdings with your brokerage account or wherever, you can import that just clicking that link there, and it'll do all this for you and bring in your symbols. But for this example, let's just say we're creating it on our own. We click create portfolio, and then it immediately takes us to actually, you're just going to look like the default view, which is this here, of the stocks you've mentioned. Now, it's going to show you a couple of things by default. Obviously, the current price and ticker symbol of each of those stocks. The change here is the daily change of that security. Open, high, and low is pretty self-explanatory. Average volume. And then if you want to really customize it, what you can do here is edit the date added, your cost per share, and the quantity or number of shares. So here's how that's going to work, and it's really neat. Let's say you're putting together a portfolio of stocks you currently hold. Now, you didn't buy these today. Some of them you've had for a few weeks, some of them a few years. So if you want to just reference when you bought these securities and make this real time, you simply click the date here to edit when it was you bought these stocks. So let's say we've owned BlackBerry maybe a year or so, since we'll say May 8th of last year. Now watch this. When I click save, it's going to give me the default price. So what it shows here, it says this is the last price of that stock on this date when you said you purchased it. That's the closing price, $14.90. Would you like to use it? So you can either use that price. I'm going to screw this up going in here. But you can either use that price or set your exact fill. Maybe you got it a little better than the day's close, call it $14.50, click save. And then finally, you'll just want to add the number of shares. So maybe you bought, I don't know, say 2,000 shares of this security at that $14.50 price. And it's going to show you a couple of things automatically. It's going to show you, one, the total value of your holding in today's dollars based on this most recent price. It's going to show you a percentage and dollar gain as well from when you purchased it to where it lies today. So obviously, anybody who purchased 2,000 shares of BlackBerry a year ago is sitting on a pretty hefty loss, but it will update this in real time, which I think is really neat. Now, if you make a mistake, you can come back and edit this as much as you want. So, no, wait, I didn't buy it back in May. I bought it, early February of this year. You can come back, change the date. Once again, it'll ask you if that's the correct price, and everything will automatically adjust. You see our gain in dollar and percentage values have edited themselves as well. Finally, you can make some notes here in a couple of forms. So one is fair value. As value investors, most of us, we buy securities based on our assessment of where they stand compared to our estimate of their intrinsic value. So maybe we think BlackBerry is worth around $12. We can save that. It's not going to do anything to our gains, but it's going to keep this as a note and also show us the percentage move to fair value. And then in addition, you can add some notes here. So you can put, looking for $15 sell. You could put bought on insider, buying news, whatever it is. You can kind of keep track of both your thought process, what you're looking to do with this stock. Maybe you say, waiting for 2014 Q4 numbers. Whatever it may be, all the notes here that cause you to buy, or what you're looking for to sell, or anything you want to remember after you've done your homework, you simply put there in the notes section and click submit, and that's going to save. Okay, it's going to save all these permanently with this portfolio. So anytime you can come back here and check on your notes, just hit this little arrow. So we'll compress it, this will open it up, and you can reference the notes you made on this stock, anything you want to be sure you remember. Okay, so I think that's really neat. You can also delete this at any time. You just bring this down to this little red X right here. If I hover over this red X and click it, those notes will disappear. Okay, and we've got the same feature for each of these portfolios. Now, obviously, it gives you a warning, so you won't accidentally delete notes that you didn't want to. It gives you this at the top of the screen. Are you sure you want to delete this note? Either hit cancel or hit OK, and it disappears. Now, the same red X is found on each of these portfolios should you decide to delete one of them, and you no longer wish to track. Okay, so that's the basics of how to set one of these up, and you can do this for each individual stock. You can go back, select the date you purchased it, the price you were filled at, and the number of shares you purchased, and all this will be live tracked for you. Okay, now you can add stocks to your portfolio at any time. There is an input bar down here at the bottom of the screen, and all you have to do is input your tickers separated by a comma, and you can add them in. Say, oh wait, I forgot, I bought some First Solar in here. Maybe I bought some Burke shares. Burke A, is that right? There it is. Burke A, etc. Just click Add to Portfolio. They're immediately brought in, and then by default they're going to use today's date. So these are the ones you want to watch them today. That's the date that's going to be given. Or you can do the same process as before and come in and change the date to when you bought these stocks. No matter how long ago that may have been, you can go back 5 years or so if that's when you purchased it. Click the date, select Save, confirm your price, and it will reflect where you stand today once you put in the number of shares you bought. And if for any time it doesn't show you, like for instance we did this one, we've made several edits to it, it's not showing the value here, just refresh your screen because it's handling a lot of data here. Refresh your screen and all that information will be reflected. Quantity in. So John's asking a question, what about multiple cost lots of a single stock? And that's a good question. It's something we're definitely working on. As of now, you can add it as a separate holding. So if you're going to track the two buys, for instance, I can add, I've got, let's see, we've got it listed here. We bought BlackBerry in February. If we want to say I've added some, we can add BlackBerry as an additional stock, and then say we bought an additional 2,000 shares today at a price of maybe $7.75, and this will be reflected as a separate holding. If you want to combine the two, unfortunately you have to do a little bit of math there. So it shouldn't be that difficult. I mean, just add up and get your total average, and then adjust here on the screen. But it is something we're working on, to where if you do an additional add, it will sync with the previous purchase of that stock. So once you've got the portfolio set up, and I'll tell you a little bit about the kind of portfolios that I suggest you do in a minute, but there's several ways to view this data. Now, what we're looking at here is the default layout, showing you each of these column headings. A couple of things you can do. First, you can move these pretty freely if you want to change the order. So for instance, you know, the 10-year PE range, if that's really important to you, simply click the heading, hold the left mouse click, and just drag it over to where you wish it to be in this lineup. It'll immediately move over. So I think that's really neat. And you can do that with any of these and move them around where you want them. Second, you can create your own customizable view, and to do that, there's a little button at the top that says customize this view. Okay, you can also add a new view if you want to save it. It's really up to you. We'll just start with the customize this view, and it's got all these fundamental data points that you can have displayed. It's anywhere price to book, price to earnings, all the valuation, growth, quality, performance, anything you want charted on here and you want displayed, excuse me, just click the box and it'll appear in your list below. You see as I'm clicking these, if you watch the right side down here at the bottom, watch as I click and they're immediately added on to what I'm viewing. I unclick it and it immediately disappears. Okay, so you can really customize this, and then just of course click Save View and you're done, and this view will always be accessible. Okay, and if you add multiple views, as you see I have, they're always going to appear right here. So you got a clean view, a default view. I've got this one as untitled, but you can do any number of views you want depending on what's important. So when is this going to be beneficial? Well, maybe you've got a growth portfolio and you've got a value portfolio. You've got several other groups of stocks you're watching. In your growth portfolio, maybe you're more concerned with keeping an eye on performance and earnings. And on your value portfolio, maybe you're more concerned with fundamental value metrics, so the price to earnings and price to book, etc. So you can do those and interchange between them fairly easily. I've got this one set as clean, just showing you the basics. This is an older view I've got that shows a lot of things. So 10-year range from the price to earnings, price to sales, price to book. I've got the predictability ranking over here. The possibilities are really endless. All right, and then in addition, I know there's a lot to bring down on you, but in addition, inside of each of these views, you can actually view the stocks as charts. And there's a number of options there as well. So we're in our current view. Let's say we want to view these as charts, and it's going to bring up the stocks we've got and the percentages of those. Now, it's only showing 3 here. Why is that? Because we've only gone in and put the number of shares we purchased, the quantity for 3 of these stocks. If you go in and add the rest of them, you'll see your chart view update when you click refresh. Okay, so it just shows you a basic pie chart of the stocks in your portfolio and what percentage they represent. Just click View Charts to get rid of those. Now, another chart view we've got. Now, that's just a basic pie chart to show you, what your portfolio composition is. If you just want to look at a pie chart, see where the majority of your money is. If you want to look at each stock on an individualized chart and a number of views as well, you can click the Charts View feature here. Now, you see the little P right there? This is a premium feature. So if you're just a free member, you will have to be a premium subscriber to access this one feature, but it's really, really powerful. When we click on that, it's going to show us, and excuse the slowness here, I'm really killing my internet connection with uploading this video at the same time. But what it's going to show us is all of our stocks as individualized charts. And by default, these are showing the Peter Lynch earnings line, which is just a PE 15 compared to the stock price. And you see you've got several options. You can look at median PE, price to sales, PE over price over EBITDA, yield, PE ratio, price to book. Plenty of options here to choose from depending on what's important to you and how you want to value or view these stocks. We can switch over to the PE ratio. And again, it's a little bit slow because I'm broadcasting video at the same time. But we see the same thing. We're seeing historical charts of where the PE ratio is for this stock today and where it has been historically. And some of these are coming in slow at the moment, but I promise they should all work for you when you do it. And we can do the same thing for median price to sales, median price to book. Tons of fundamental data here, and nice ways just get a quick overview of where your stocks stand based on these valuation metrics. Now Wayne's asking how many separate portfolios can be set up. Wayne, there's really no limit to how many you can have. Theoretically, you can set up 100 portfolios if you want. Now what I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and delete this portfolio. We'll keep it for now. But I like to have a couple. And so I mentioned, you can have a growth portfolio, you can have a value portfolio, maybe a longer term, maybe a shorter term. And one thing I like to keep is a watch list. And these aren't necessarily stocks I own, but they're stocks I've researched and say, I like it here. I'm looking for a better price, or I'm tempted to buy this, but it's a little bit risky for my portfolio, but I want to keep an eye on it just to see how it performs anyway. So I like to add a number of stocks that I'm watching and will be eager to buy on pullbacks. Now, I'll sometimes put in the notes here the price I'm looking, like I've got Twitter at 23. So if I can get Twitter down to 23, I'd be interested in buying it. For some of the others, maybe I'm currently holding, just want to keep track of what they're doing. This portfolio here is where I use the email alerts the most. Okay, and you can see this on the right side. The final option there is email alerts, and you can set these up individually for each stock in each portfolio. So within this one, let's click on the email alerts tab, and down here at the bottom are the ones I've got set up, and you've got several options I want to go through. So first is a series of check boxes to make it as easy as possible for you. First thing you can do, you can choose to receive a daily update report, which will be an automated email to show you the performance of all the stocks in that portfolio, should you wish to keep a daily update view on. You can click to receive alerts. It goes up or down more than a predefined percentage. You can look for volume more than the 30-day average, new highs, new lows, guru trades on them, insider trades, and one of them filed. The PE gets within a range. Any number of options you want to be alerted to for the stocks in your portfolio, you can set up to do automatically. In addition, below that are the customized alerts. Now, most people are using these for price, and that's why we've got a target price window here. So I've got, for instance, Apple, you can choose drops below or rises above. If I can get it below 85, I want to be alerted. If AeroVironment is below 25 1/4, I want to be alerted. If Leapfrog gets above 15 bucks, maybe I'm already holding it or just want to see if it doubles. If it gets above 15, I want to be alerted. If you want something other than price, if you're watching a company, say maybe when they pay down their debt, or maybe when the earnings multiple gets low enough for me, that's where the customized alerts come in. And I'm going to show you here on the right side, you can add any number of fundamental data to be alerted to it. So all you have to do is click the Add Alert next to the stock you want to watch, and then choose your metrics. We've got all the fundamental metrics here, from market cap, sales figures, equity to assets, share buyback rate, stock performance, valuation metrics, growth metrics, quality metrics, any number of fundamentals. Essentially anything you can scan for can be selected here. So if I want to know, when the debt to equity ratio for Apple gets below maybe 10%, I want it really low, that's all I've got to set up. And then once you've set each of these, you can do any number for these stocks. I can add another one for AeroVironment. Maybe I want to know when their sales get above 100 million, something like that. Once I'm done with these, simply click the Save Settings down here at the bottom, and it's going to save all your alerts. Be sure to do that so you don't lose these. And then from here to eternity, if that number is hit, you're going to receive an email alert. Okay, now, as with anything else, you can delete these with the red X. If you're no longer concerned with this, get rid of it. Concerned with this, get rid of it. If you no longer care, when Leapfrog gets above 15, just simply change to no alert, delete that, and just once again hit Save Settings, and those alerts will no longer be there. Okay? So a lot of really neat features, and I think these alerts can really help investors out a lot, because how many times do you research the stocks and, man, it looks good at 12, but I really want it at 8, and then you go on and you look at 100 other companies, and then a year down the road, you see that stock pop back on your radar and think, man, it went to the price I wasn't watching anymore. I didn't have it on a watch list. But you would have jumped on it should it go into 8. So that's why I like having this watch list or a wish list, if you call it. Add my stocks in here, put on the alerts, and I'll no longer forget. Okay, if I say I'm interested in Leapfrog, if it gets below $5, when it gets below 5, I get an email, log back in, check, see if I'm still interested in the stock. So, like I said, really a digital database for all of your due diligence and all of your research, and it will help you not lose track of the stocks you're watching. Okay, now I've got a few others here. One of them I did a few months back in February. I set up what I thought were some overvalued stocks. So if you're looking to maybe build a little bit of a short book in your portfolio, you know, a lot of these big value guys right now, they're scared to short, so what they're doing is shorting a basket of stocks. And I've heard this from a number of big names out there. And these were the ones I identified back in February and just put kind of some equal weighting to them. Now, as a basket, it's done well. Okay, Netflix is really the only one that's up from that price I was watching it. Yelp's been beginning to get crushed. LinkedIn's coming down. Stratus is 3D Systems. I think these have further to go. But the cool thing is, if you're doing this as a basket, it's going to show you the total percentage and dollar gain on the whole portfolio, as well as, you know, individualized on each stock. So I think that's kind of neat. You can keep an eye on, you know, if you got, okay, say I'm thinking about following a Walter Schloss model, or I'm thinking about investing more like Buffett, or I want to be a little bit more a growth guy like Lynch. You set up individual portfolios for each of those, and even if you don't put real money into it, you may just want to live track your new process and track it to see how it would have done had you put real money to it before you decide to go live with it. And that's one of these. One of the great features of this tool here. All right, so that's the basic rundown of how to use this. A couple of other things here. There is a Remove Stocks tab. So, for instance, in our portfolio, let's go to the one we made, this test portfolio. Okay, so we bought this. Let's say we bought BlackBerry back here. We'll use First Solar. Bought it in December. Let's say we sold that in our live money portfolio. We're going to go ahead and remove this stock. You get a warning. Are you sure we want to remove it? Yes. So now it's out of our portfolio. And if we refresh the page and update, you'll see that our performance figures are updated to have that stock out of it. But if at any time you want to go back and see, you know, the stocks you sold and what's going on there, simply click the Remove Stocks tab, and it's going to show you anything you've taken out, your initial add date, your initial cost, the price when it was removed. So this can be either, oh thank God, or I'm an idiot type of thing. And what I mean is, if you sell stocks out of your portfolio, you can always go back and track ones you bought and either see, man, I probably shouldn't have sold that, or good thing I sold it, it crashed. And just kind of keep track of what's going on since that point. You may fall to a place where you want to re-enter, so you can keep track of those you've sold in the Remove Stocks tab. So overall, I think it's a really, really useful tool. You can play with this for hours. You can put your actual portfolio in here. It might take you some time to update, the dates you added each stock, the number of shares, etc. But it's gonna bring you a lot of value. Wayne asks, there a column that shows the percentage each stock represents the total portfolio for rebalancing purposes? Okay, good question, Wayne. Now, the first thing, obviously, you can click on View Charts here and see these. Oh, Bert's a big chunk. I forgot how expensive it is. Let's change our quantity here to 1. And that will show you kind of a base overview. If you hover over each of these stocks, if you see this, watch each of these stocks. I hover my mouse over it, okay, and you'll see it's showing you a percentage of your portfolio. There's 30.8%, IBM's 14.6%, Google's 44.6%, and each of these are going to show as well. So that's going to give you the percentages in your portfolio. Another really neat tool that we've done that's going to make rebalancing really easy is something Charlie added a couple weeks ago. We sent an email out about it called the Portfolio Constructor. And it's a pretty straightforward tool, but what it's going to do is allow you to balance these portfolios. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on this and I'll show you what it does. If you're already in this portfolio, you can rebalance them here and it'll give you a new share count. But if you're just setting this up, let's say you've got maybe $100,000 you want to put toward this portfolio. Now by default, it's going to give you equal weightings. All right, it's going to give you 12.5% each one, and the number of shares that represents for this dollar value. Notice we got a 0 for Burke because it's like a multi-$1,000 stock. I should have put Burke A in. And if you click Save, it's going to update these figures in the portfolio. So as we do that, we see that it automatically puts an equal weighted number of shares. It fills in the quantity, the dollar value, and reflects it as if we added all these today at equal weights. If you want to personalize your weighting system, we'll take the same $100,000, and maybe you want to put, you can use either the slider or the personal input here. Maybe you want to up Google a little bit, maybe 25, 30, 35%. And what you're seeing is it's automatically adjusting all the other weights as well. So you can do it with the slider. You can come in here and put it in manually. And you can adjust any number of stocks you want. So you want to be 28% Google, you want a little more BlackBerry, and you want maybe only 5% IBM. It's going to adjust all these automatically for you. So you click Save, and it's going to reflect your new figures, your new quantities, and the new dollar values again as if you added these today. Okay, so you can't rebalance based on old figures. But we're saying if this is your portfolio where you're at now, you come look at your chart view and think, man, I'm kind of heavy in Google, or I'm kind of heavy in one of these stocks. You can just come over here to the portfolio calculator, put in your dollar amount, and it's going to give you where your share count should be today. Okay, so if you're really off track, think that this is where I should be today. I should have 1,600 shares of BlackBerry, 61 Teslas, 37 Amazons, and you can go into your brokerage account and place the buy and sell actions necessary to rebalance your portfolio. So I think that's a really neat tool to continue to use. And again, this is an equally weighted portfolio today, but 6 months down the road, we may come down here and find that some of these stocks represent larger chunks or lower chunks due to price action that's occurred. There you can see an equally weighted portfolio with these stocks we've selected. Greg asks, can you copy and paste an existing portfolio to start a new one? So a question I've been asked is can you copy a current portfolio to create a new one? So in other words, duplicate it. You can. It's kind of a two-step process. What you'd have to do is export this to Excel. And it's a nice feature. You can dump any of this data to Excel if you want to do your own manipulations with it. You can export this data to Excel and then just go back to my portfolios and create a new portfolio, and then you just import that same file, that same Excel file you just did. So it's going to make a new portfolio that is equivalent to the one you just created. Okay. And Gul's already accessed a little the constructor. Yeah, the portfolio constructor is right here on the far right side of your screen. So anytime you're in the My Portfolio section, just click that portfolio constructor and it will do all that work we mentioned. Now there is another way to build a portfolio. Okay, now how many of you guys use the All-in-One Screener a good bit? How many of you like that to kind of find a list of stocks? Let's start with that. Okay, so you don't have a rolling list of tickers you want to keep an eye on. Let's say we want to run a scan. Okay, so let's just run some pretty basic scans here. Let's take over-the-counter stocks out. Let's say we only want S&P 500 stocks. We're looking for very low debt to equity. So let's get this maybe below 0.4. And we want high cash stock. So cash to debt. We want at least 5 times as much cash as they've got debt. And then we want maybe a return on equity of at least 10%. Okay, so This is going to give us a list of 33 stocks. You can do any scan you want, right? But if you want to save this as a portfolio to track, okay, so maybe you want to see how certain metrics perform, down at the bottom of the scan window, you've got a couple of options. Now, as usual, you can download a full 10-year financial data in an Excel file for all these stocks, or you can add these to your portfolio. This is for the stocks on the current page, or you can add all 38 to my portfolio. So this is what happens. You add all to my portfolio, and you see it puts all these tickers in this list here, just as you would if you're creating one from scratch. And you've got two options here with this drop-down menu. You can either create these as a new portfolio, or you can add to one of your existing ones. All right, so let's just say we want to create a new portfolio. Click to add them, and it brings up this same screen that we face when we look for, or when we go to the add new portfolio. So this is maybe custom scan. We'll leave this one open to everyone, and just click create portfolio. And it does the same as it did before when we manually input all the ticker symbols. It is all these values based on today. We could come in here and say, let's see what my $50,000 would do with this portfolio. Give them an equal weighting. Go ahead and hit save. And now we've got a virtual $50,000 portfolio of the 33 stocks that met our search criteria. And of course, you can come in and alter any of these, change the number of shares, but it's going to give you a total, the number of shares you're holding, a total dollar value of each, as close to balance as you can get considering the share prices, and you can track this over time. You can, if some of these reach high levels, you can remove one of the stocks and kind of track that as well under the Remove Stocks tab. But it's a really nice way to quickly and easily build portfolios based on your predetermined metrics. Okay. And then finally, up here at the top, you do have the option of a daily update report. We saw that as one of the options down in the email alerts. In the email alert settings, you can also access it from here, and you can select which portfolios you want to get a daily report on just by checking those boxes. So, just warning, if you get these on all your portfolios, I mean, you're going to have a pretty full inbox. So most of you probably don't want daily updates on these, but if you do, and it's something you're watching pretty adamantly, you can definitely set that up there. And then if you decide to change the name of your portfolio or update the privacy, you can also just go. You can always go here to the settings tab. Okay, if you think all of a sudden custom scan is just not a cool name for it, just come in here and name it. I don't know. Turbo Stocks 3000. Maybe that sounds cooler to you, and you want to keep this private now. I don't want anyone to see it. You can do that, and you'll see how that icon up there turned from a green open lock to a gold close lock, signifying that this is now a private portfolio. Henry, can you show a price to sales ratio? Yeah, sure. I mean, any of these views that you've got, if you want to display the price to sales, you can do it two ways. You can display it in here, so we can go in here and customize this view. If we want to see price to sales, it's going to be a valuation metric here, and we can also see the 10-year price to sales range if you choose. So if we save those two, this is what we've added. I'll move PE over the side here. We've added a price to sales column and also the 10-year range, so we can see where it stands versus where it's been over the last decade. Okay, and as usual, you can drag these and move them if they're more important to you. You can put them near the front, you can put them in the middle. It's a nice drag and drop feature we've got there. And if you want to view these as charts, I believe maybe what Henry was referencing, you can do that as well. So as we mentioned before, one of the premium features is the charts view, which is right here at the top. You view any of your portfolios this way. And clicking on charts view, the price to sales is going to be one of our options. So you've got, this is going to show you the median price to sales as soon as this gets uploaded. Again, kind of lagging on my internet connection here. And then the other checkbox will just show you the current price to sales level now. Okay, so you've got these two options: median price to sales or current price to sales. So here's the median price to sales. It's just displayed in two lines, right? The green is going to be the stock price, and then the blue line is where that stock price would be theoretically at its median or average price to sales over the last 10 years. If that's a metric you're watching, maybe retail type stocks, that's something you want to judge by, you can pretty quickly identify those that have a gap from where median price to sales is and those that are trading in excess, like MasterCard here, their average price to sales value. Okay, now that's median. If you want to look at that's the price. So if you want to look at that's median. If you want to look at the current price to sales ratio, you can select that and it'll update those as well. So this is going to show you not where the price stands in relation to it, and some of these are slow to load right now, but just going to show you the historical price to sales ratio. So just chart just that one metric, so you can quickly see, hey, this is on the low end of history, or it's on the high end. And someone asked about dividend as well. You can plot the dividend yield in addition. If you build a dividend portfolio and you want to see stocks that are offering maybe a better yield than they have historically, this is going to plot that for you. Now, some of these don't pay dividends. It's going to be a blank chart, right? Google does not pay a dividend. F5 Networks doesn't pay a dividend. But the ones that do, that's going to show you that yield for as long as we've got history on it. So in Garmin's case, got about 10 years here. GameStop, which is newer, only been paying dividends about 2 years. We're seeing about a 3% yield. But the figure it gives is a percentage. So it says 0.4. That's 0.4 of 1%. If it says 3, it's 3%. Oh, and the Guru View, someone mentioned. Yeah, the Guru View as well. For you guys that like to follow what these other fund managers are doing, the Guru View is going to show you how, buy and sell actions of those gurus over the last 4 quarters, and also insider trade history. All right, so starting with Accenture here at the top, we're seeing where this stands each quarter as far as guru buys and sells, and then also insider trade. Now, all we've seen is sells here for this stock, but others, there's going to be a red line if they sell, green line if they buy. And as you hover over this, you can see all the actual transactions for that quarter. Okay, so here's all the buys, here's how much they bought, and here are the sells. They sold out of the percentage that they dumped. Same with insider sales here. If you hover over each of these monthly data points, you can see what sales took place. And just to show you what buys look like, here is Credit Suisse Asset Management. Here you're identifying insider buying, and as usual, they're getting in these nice low prices for this stock. Here's another one, Fastenal Company. Insiders have a phenomenal track record of beautiful buys and sells. They know their company at least so intimately. They generally have a better idea of what it's worth than you or I, who maybe look at their stock for 20, 30 minutes a week. They're thinking about it 50 hours a week. And notice insiders tend to buy at really great prices. Right here on all these dips, they tend to buy. The sells I don't monitor as much because there's lots of reasons to sell a stock. Maybe they were paid in options, they're converting and cashing out. Maybe they're putting a kid through college or buying some ridiculous mansion. The sells don't matter as much. They don't tell the same story that the buys do. You see Michael Kors getting some pretty heavy insider buying here near tops. They must have positive outlook on that company. Not a lot of these stocks showing insider buys. Here's some. There's one buy on Robert Half. But different stocks are going to be, going to show you different information. But if you ever see heavy insider trade there, it's usually a pretty good sign for you. And John's asking if you can import your stocks from your brokerage account. Yeah, absolutely, John. What you're going to do, most brokerage accounts will have an option to export that data into an Excel or XLS or CSV, which stands for comma separated something file. If you can do that, then just import a new portfolio from Excel. Okay, and it'll bring that information in. Now, whether or not they have that data is formatted to show the dates you purchased, the number of shares, your average share price. If it does, it'll automatically be linked in. If you have to go in and tweak the numbers a little bit to reflect your current purchase, your correct share prices and dates, you may have to do that. You can absolutely dump in the data to create a live portfolio of what you've got. So, another way that's helpful, John, it's a good point you brought up there. You may have money in several different brokerage accounts, right? Maybe you've got an IRA over here at Schwab. You've got a little Roth over here you're holding at TD Ameritrade. You've got a child's retirement account you're holding maybe at Wells Fargo. So this allows you to kind of monitor all of it in one. If you create a portfolio for each of these, even if it takes you an hour on a Saturday or something, what you've got is a nice overview. And anytime you click this portfolio's overview, you can look at everything you're holding. So here's our custom scan one we just built, showing us where that portfolio stands, the test portfolio, our watch list, etc., etc. And you can really just quickly switch between these, and you may have, daughter's college fund, retirement account, fund money, whatever it may be here. But instead of having to log in and out of a bunch of different brokerage accounts, you can just monitor it all on here. And then you only have to use, your Schwab or your E-Trade or whatever, just to place trades and rebalance. But the idea behind this is, look, what we all want is one central place to do everything, right? We want to do all of our research, we want to do all of our charting, we want to do all of our analysis. And then Guru Focus has really been that hub, especially focused on value investing. And with this tool, now you can do your tracking and your portfolio monitoring as well. So it's a really nice ecosystem, I think, that allows you to maintain everything within the site. Our founder, Charlie Tian here, I don't think he looks at any other website other than Guru Focus to track all of his portfolio. So it's a really nice organic composition of all these investment tools. So it's about all I had to share with you. What questions do you have? And then if you've got really technical stuff or recommendations, I could turn it over to Charlie to step on here and speak to that. Yeah, so Robert's got a question here. He's asking about commissions and dividends, and you're right, Robert. It's definitely something we can probably have added in the short term. Most of the features here on Guru Focus were recommendations from users, so Robert, we'll credit you for this one. When you see this roll out, you'll know that you're responsible for that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and I'll put that on Charlie's list. Charlie, how long do you think it would take to add those features? Okay, Robert, tell you what, give us 2 weeks. Inside of 2 weeks, you'll see commissions as an added option here, and also dividends paid as a column and reflected in your gain. So thanks for the input, and definitely something we'll add here. Any other questions? And some of you likely manage money if you're a portfolio manager or maybe an investment advisor and track several accounts. You could set up one of these. Maybe you just keep track of a family member's account or a neighbor's or something. You can just set up a portfolio for each of those and quickly switch between these and evaluate where they stand. So another good use for my portfolios feature. Roger said if we add features, it might be better than Morningstar. Well, thank you, Roger. Dan, you may have already said it, but are the prices quoted real time or delayed end of day? Dan, they are delayed prices, right? They reflect, what's the delay on these, Charlie? 30 minutes. Yeah, it's about a 30-minute delay on the prices generally. So it's not real time like an active trading account, but it's not just the previous end of day. So you'll see these values update, several times throughout the trading day. Vanu, 10-year PE PS price to book is great for adding. And yeah, those are on here, Vanu. Again, if you just check to customize this view, you can get those 10-year PE price to sales and price to book ranges here, as you see. And then anytime it is a median value, that's going to be the 10-year average as well. Jack, I know the cost per share for Apple shows at $13. What's up there? Jack, mine is showing up, let's see. Oh, it is at $13. Okay. I think what happened, I think this split got double adjusted. I'll try to look at that. That'll be fixed by the end of the day. For some reason, it's reflecting a 7-to-1 split on a 7-to-1 split. Notice it's 1/7 of 94. So that's probably just a glitch. We'll get fixed. Thanks for pointing that out. Vanu, the only website carrying this in the market. Yeah, Vanu. I mean, we're trying to be the go-to hub, and we want to offer you guys every tool you need to sophisticatedly and intelligently invest, research, and manage portfolios. Any suggestions you have that make that more possible, we are all ears. Robert, outstanding as is everything else here, and I'm sure these added features will bind the customer to you, particularly family offices. Yeah, thanks, Robert, and thank you again for mentioning the dividend and commission tab. We'll be sure to add those again. Give us max 2 weeks, and that'll be up. But you family office guys and managers that don't have 300 accounts under you, will probably get a lot of use out of these live portfolio managements, my portfolio section. Any other questions? Jack, yes, you can hear this webinar again. This replay will probably be up in about 2 hours, and to find it, simply what we do each week, we put the replay of the last week's session on the home page. You see, last week it had a value stocks. That's there. You'll see this webinar appear there in about 2 hours, and if you just click that, it'll give you a pop-up to view that video, or you can click YouTube and watch it on their site. In addition, all of the previously presented webinars are archived under the tutorials tab. So watch the hover over home here and select tutorials. There you'll find a list of the webinar archives by the date they were done and the title. So just click each of these that you want to come back. We did one on dividend investing, and when you click that link, it will take you directly to the YouTube video, and you can bring that out and watch that full screen. Good question. Yeah, these all we definitely archive all these. Roger, right now the value to me is about the same as Morningstar because it's on advantages. All right, Roger. Well, let us know what we can do to beat them, and we're definitely all ears. And thank you, Jack. I definitely appreciate that. Well, look, I'll go ahead and cut this off. I know you guys are probably ready to go to lunch, so thank you again for joining us on a Wednesday afternoon. We appreciate you being here as Guru Focus, and also definitely appreciate you being a valued member of the site. If you are not yet a premium member, you can obviously sign up at $349 per year. As always, we have a 7-day free trial of the website. So let me log out and show you what that's going to look like. Anytime you want to test this out, get all the premium features, use the scanner, use all those features. Even if you just want to, run them through the paces for a week, we always have a running 7-day free trial. So just sign up here on the 7-day free trial page, put in a credit card number. If you decide to cancel at any time inside those 7 days, do it via email, phone, or on the site. It's a no questions asked cancellation. You will not be charged. In addition, because we are terribly confident in the value of this website and the tools we offer, we also have a full 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're outside the trial period and 3 weeks later you decide, you know what, it's just not for me, call us. We won't ask any questions. We'll cancel your membership and refund you the full $349 amount. So it's completely risk-free to you. We have a number of gurus on the site that are actually subscribers themselves. Donald Yachtman is one of them, Jeff Ozier, David Rolfe, a couple of other large investment advisors I've talked to recently who've managed billions of dollars that use Guru Focus as their go-to research hub. So we encourage you to become a member and at least try us out. Thank you again for joining, and we'll see you on next week's webinar.